you're happy with DJ Johnson. Others are as well. You've mentioned to me, highlight him and anybody else that comes to mind, not necessarily that just showed up on Saturday, but throughout the spring season.
Yeah, well, everybody knows we got Noah Sewell is going to be the guy on the defense. I think he's the guy. I think it's going to be the Noah Sewell show this year, big time, because of the success of his family and because he plays the middle linebacker position. He's going to be everywhere. He's actually labeled. Everybody's labeled either an inside linebacker or outside linebacker in the roster. He's just listed as linebacker. Like, he's more old school than the position itself, like code, whatever. But everybody's asking about, and then Justin Flowe. Everybody wants to see Justin Flowe. He came off of injury, played a little bit at the end of the spring practice, was suited up for the game, watched him through warm-ups, but didn't participate. I think the medical team's really pumping the brakes on him. He had 2 season-ending injuries back-to-back years as a number 1 recruit coming out. Remember, Kayvon Thibodeau was the number 1 defensive player 1 year, and then Justin Flowe was the next year coming out of high school. So got to try to see if we can get something out of him this year. But I think the question is, who's going to, replace KT and get those looks in the corner? Boy, this guy, DJ Johnson, I'm telling you, has got a great head on his shoulders. He just got engaged this year. He's got everything in order. He was a fantastic player out of high school. 100 offers out of high school. Went to Miami. Families from Sacramento. Grew up in Sacramento. Had some issues with his family. Had to come back home. Health issues, Grams and everything. Come back home on the West Coast and made a difference. Was a defensive player right out of the gate and was starting outside linebacker, defensive end. Then last year, during the Tyler Shuck year with COVID, went to just tight end, was probably the offensive MVP. I mean, he was just an amazing tight end, and he called himself the fastest tight end in the country. The guy was absolutely big and fast, and it was really good. And then last year was both. Literally was a D1 athlete playing both sides of the ball, which, again, is the throwback, and successful on both sides of the ball. And then this year, he's going to just be on the defensive side. He's wearing number 2, and he is a problem. He is going to be a major, major issue. He's just so fast and so strong, that unique combination of those guys off the edge. They're just hard to stop. And again, I think, some of these guys say it best, and they really focus on the offensive line. You've got these guys, everybody's trained to run forward, and you've got these guys who have to go backward. I mean, they have to do the exact opposite of what they're trained to do their entire life. And they have elite athletes running full speed in front of them. Like, we're asking some of these offensive linemen who are maybe not in the greatest shape to cover probably the guy who's in the best shape on the whole freaking 50-man roster, as he's going 100 miles an hour right at your shoulder. Oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and stop him. And then the moment you get on his shoulder, he turns on a dime, spins inside, and tackles the quarterback right in front of you. I mean, how demoralizing, right? So it's like, it's got to be hard for a right tackle, left tackle. And this guy, is just going to prey on people. So I think that leads us to the next conversation of, like, where KT is at, because I think being able to have the defensive players really show up for Oregon is the difference between Oregon's program now and what it used to be, where I think it used to be kind of more predicated on the offensive side, not score people. Now it's got the talent to actually stop somebody. So I think they're in the conversation for any game they play because of the defensive talent.